Very good morning, children. Children, last time we had just begin with chapter number 1, that is natural resources, air, water and land. Right, children? Today we will continue with further chapter, but before going into the details, we'll just revise what we had did in our earlier lecture. Children, in our last lecture, first of all, I had mentioned about three of the terms: atmosphere, hydrosphere and lithosphere. Yes, children? What do you all understand by the term atmosphere? Yes, the word atmo is related to air, right? So, atmosphere means all the things associated with air. Similarly, hydrosphere means water and lithosphere means land. Okay, children? Air, water, and land are the factors that are important for sustaining the living world on earth, and they are our basic needs. So, they are termed as natural resources. That is, they are obtained from the nature and they are essential for us. So, they are termed as natural resources. Okay, children? Then we had seen about proportion of land and water. Yes, do you remember what was the proportion of land and proportion of the water on our earth? Yes, land constitutes about 29%, whereas water constitutes about 71%. Means a large portion of our earth is occupied by water. Okay, children? Then we had discussed about atmosphere. The atmosphere is a layer of air that surrounds our earth. Yes, the surface of earth comprises water and land, that is hydrosphere and lithosphere. And just now we had seen the proportion of land and water. Yes, children? Then we had seen about 5 layers of atmosphere. What were they? Troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, ionosphere and exosphere. Yes, children? Troposphere contains about 80% of the gases in air. Stratosphere contains about 19% of gases. In mesosphere and ionosphere, the proportion of the gases goes on decreasing, and in exosphere there is no gas. Okay, children? Now, the air in our atmosphere contains what, children? That also we had learnt in the last lecture. Yes, it contains gases like nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, 6 inert gases, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, water vapor and dust particles. Okay, children? Once again I'll repeat: nitrogen, oxygen, carbon dioxide, 6 inert gases, nitrogen dioxide, sulfur dioxide, water vapor and dust particles. All this is there in our air. Okay? Air is a mixture of several gases and it is the chief constituent of Earth's atmosphere. Children, we had also seen that the amount of the gases in the air is greatest near the surface and it goes on decreasing as we go higher and higher. Yes, children? Then we had seen about various proportions of gases in air. Nitrogen constitutes about 78%. Okay? Then comes oxygen, 21%. Then comes argon, 0.9%. Then is other constituents of air, that is 0.07%. percent, and last but not the least is carbon dioxide, that is 0.03%. Children, then we had seen some of the uses of air. Nitrogen helps to build the necessary proteins in the living things, and it is useful for the production of ammonia and in airtight packaging of foodstuffs. Second was oxygen. Oxygen is necessary for respiration and for combustion as well. Okay. Next was carbon dioxide. Plants use it for producing their food, and it is used in fire extinguishers. Then is argon. It is used in electric bulbs. Then was helium, used for obtaining low temperatures and also for generating lifts. Neon, used in decorative lights and for street lighting. Okay. Krypton, used in fluorescent tubes. Xenon, used in flash photography. Okay, children. Then we had seen about air pollution and the harmful substances that are released in air due to combustion of fuels. What were they? They were nitrogen dioxide, carbon monoxide, sulfur dioxide, and soot. Okay, children. These were the harmful substances released in air through the combustion of fuels. Then we had seen about one important thing, that is ozone layer. Children, the ozone layer is called as the protective shell of our earth. How? That also we had seen. Just will revise in brief. Okay. There is a layer of ozone in the lower part of stratosphere. This ozone gas is not directly useful, but it is very much important. How it is important? Since the ultraviolet rays, that is UV rays coming from the sun, are very much harmful, and ozone gas absorbs these UV rays. Okay, and as a result of this, the life on our earth is protected. So this ozone layer protects the life on our earth by absorbing the harmful ultraviolet rays. Okay, children. But this ozone layer is destroyed if chemical gases like carbon tetrachloride or chlorofluorocarbons are used in ACs and refrigerators mix with air. Okay, children. Then we have seen about Ozone Protection Day. Do you remember the date? Yes, 16th of September. 16th of September is celebrated as Ozone Protection Day all over the world to make everyone aware of importance of ozone. Okay, children. So this was about our last lecture. Now let us come to this session. That was all about air, that is atmosphere. Now we will talk about water, that is hydrosphere. Okay, children, water is almost used for everything in our house. Yes, children. So it is almost impossible for us to spend even a single day without water. Yes or no? As our air is necessary for our life, in the same way, water is also a very essential part of our life. We are not able to spend even a single day without water. Yes, we need to drink 3 or 4 liters of water every day so that all functions of our body can be carried out smoothly, right, children? So that we don't get ill very often, right? Similar to human beings, even other living things also require water okay, but their amount is low as compared to us. From all this, we can say that water is very much essential for our life. Okay, children? If hydrogen gas burns in air, then it combines with oxygen and water is formed. Okay, children? This is explained how water is formed. Water is formed when hydrogen gas burns in air and it combines with oxygen. Okay, children? Now, you all can see figure 1.5. Yes, it shows the distribution of water on our earth. Okay, you can see blue color, red color and green color. Yes, the blue color shows seas and oceans occupying water. Okay, how much water is there in seas and oceans? Okay, the red color shows groundwater, ice and water in other forms. Fine. Whereas a small portion, that is green color, shows the water that is available for drinking. Children, from this we can conclude that a very less amount of water is available for drinking on our earth. But children, this water is also very much enough for all of the human beings and other living things to survive. Okay, children, you all can see a chart here. Yes, purpose for which water is used and amount of water approximate in liters. Children, I want you all to do a simple activity. Just record how much liters of water are used for all these purposes. Okay, children? Then you will come to know total use of water you are doing during a day. Okay? In nature, water occurs in 3 states. Are you all aware? Yes. Solid, liquid and gaseous. Okay, children? These are the 3 states of water: solid, liquid and gaseous. Water does not have color, taste or odor. Water does not have a permanent color, neither it has a taste or odor. Odor means smell. Okay, water is tasteless, colorless and it does not have a smell. Many substances are readily dissolved in water. Okay, most of the substances get readily dissolved in the water, and hence due to this property of the water, water is called as universal solvent. Solvent means a substance in which most of the substances can get dissolved, and since most of the substances get readily dissolved in water, water is called as what? Universal solvent. The blood of animals and the sap in plants contains a very high proportion of water. Children, even the blood in our body has a great proportion of water. So it is advisable for all of us to drink adequate or sufficient quantity of water every day. Okay, children, if we don't drink sufficient quantity of water, then many problems can arise. No living thing can survive without water, and hence water is called as life. Okay, water is life, because without water we are not able to survive. Now, children, one more activity. You had seen figure 1.5. Yes, children. Based on that figure, there is a chart here: water available on earth and percentage. What you have to do is you have to just fill in the blanks. Okay, do it as an activity at your home. We cannot use all the water on earth because sea water is salty. Children, you all can see in the figure that major water, major quantity of the water is there in seas and oceans. But why can't we use that water, since that water is salty? It contains a large amount of salts. Okay, we have even some water in frozen state, but that water also can be used for our all purposes. A very small quantity of water is available for drinking, but that quantity is also very much enough for us to survive. Okay, children. Next, children, see the figure 1.6. Okay, in this figure you just see or observe for which purposes is water being used. Okay, just have a look. Do other living things use water like we do? We use water in large quantities. We have learned that water on our earth is regulated through water cycle. The water vapor that is formed from oceans is the main source of the water, and it gets converted into rain, creating fresh water sources on earth. This is how water is available to us. Okay, children. Next, we get water from natural resources such as streams, rivers, ponds, springs, and lakes. Man also digs wells and bore wells to lift groundwater. And apart from this, man has also constructed bunds and dams of various sizes on the rivers. Okay, children? Children, always remember, use water sparingly. Sparingly, in the sense, whatever quantity of the water is required, use only that much water. Don't waste water. Okay, do not waste water. Second, block water and let it percolate. Third, store water whenever possible. Means you have to store the water whenever you get a chance, otherwise there will be a scarcity of water and water will not be available for all of us. Fourth, reuse water whenever possible. Remember, stored water does not become stale at once. Okay, due to uncontrolled use of water for an increasing population, industry and farming, it is now in short supply. Okay, and water scarcity has become a serious problem nowadays. This was all about water, children. Now we will talk about the third sphere, that is lithosphere, means about land. Okay, land is seen in the form of stones, soil, big rocks. Land is not flat everywhere. It is hilly in some places and flat in others. All terrestrial animals, including man, live on land. Some dig burrows in the ground for shelter. Okay, this means that they use land for fulfilling their needs. We make use of plants and animals in forests that grow on land. We also use land for farming, for building houses and roads. Yes, children. the minerals, crude oil, and natural gas obtained from earth are very much important for us, and all these are obtained from land. This means what, children? That land is also an important natural resource like air and water, like atmosphere and hydrosphere. Lithosphere is also an important natural resource. Okay, children? So, let us study about this in detail. Children, see figure 1.7. This figure shows the layers of mixture in the bottle. Yes, the topmost layer is dry leaves, then comes soil, then comes sand, small stones, and big stones. Okay, the land on our earth also looks like this figure. If a pipeline is being laid in your neighborhood, observe carefully the pits. Okay, children? If the land has mature soil, the topmost layer is formed by the decomposition of the remains of plants and animals, and it is called as humus. Okay, the clear picture of the layers of the land, I will show it to you after this image. Okay, children? First of all, we'll see what layers are there. Okay, the topmost layer is humus, and it is formed by the decomposition of the remains of plants and animals, and it is usually found in the dense forest. Okay, children? The land below this is full of sand, soil, small stones, worms, and insects. Soil and pieces of bedrock are found below this layer of land, and this soil is called as immature soil, since this soil is not mature enough as humus. Okay, further below this layer, the proportion of soil decreases and that of rock increases. This is the layer of bedrock. Okay, the main minerals in the soil are derived from these rocks, and that is why the soil is different in different regions, and bedrock is responsible for the color and the texture of the soils. Okay, children? Now I'll finally show you the layers of soil. You also can see these all in figure 1.8, layers of land. Okay, the topmost layer is humus. Okay, then is soil, then is immature soil, then is layer of soil and small rocks, and then is bedrock. Okay, children? This was all about our this lecture. The process of soil formation and further chapter we will do in our next lecture. Thank you.